So how do you guys feel about this sort of like, we'll call it like the level of wokeness that's in the show? Because I feel like there's like an interesting balance to me of like it's there, but it's also being made fun of a little bit at the same time. I don't know, Paul, have you kind of, you know what I'm talking about, or am I like off in the wilderness here?
I wouldn't necessarily describe this as woke. I mean, I'm sure somebody would.
I wouldn't either.
But
you can see like, I feel like you can see like glimpses of it, but then it's like it also gets undercut or made fun of at the same time. Which,
yeah, I mean, the whole situation is ridiculous. His father is his alter ego is literally the White Dragon. I mean, like, dude's in it.
Oh yeah, I mean so his father is. I mean, honestly, his father is a lot of the reason why he's a lunatic, but his father is a white supremacist neo-Nazi supervillain.
Yeah,
pretty much.
So, I mean like when that's, I don't see this as woke really at all. And then they kind of undercut a lot of the making fun of his dad by basically acknowledging there is this deep state. It's kind of a weird dynamic, but it works because it feels very of the time, but it's not like groan inducing, if that makes sense. Yeah, there's obviously a lot of politics from today in this, but it feels like it would for somebody who is disconnected from that and not trying to make a point. It's just trying to be a workplace comedy. That's all that's all Peacemaker is. It's just, it's just a workplace comedy. And John Cena is Dwight Schrute. Like
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah. No, so actually I really like describing this as a workplace comedy. I think that's exactly right. I mean, it is essentially the dynamic between these like, 5 people or whatever who actually have to do a job or, do a string of jobs, right? Together and not kill each other and not, like actually grow to like each other over time. The thing I'm thinking of, so there's a scene, and I think it's in the first episode where it is, because he's like escaping from the hospital or whatever. And he stops and he talks to a janitor, just trying to see if the coast is clear, basically, to see if he can sort of slip out. And the janitor, I got to remember, my goodness, it's probably in our, it's not. I'll have to look up who the janitor was, because he is a comic actor I've seen in a couple other things. He was in maybe the IT Crowd.
Could be.
I'm gonna have to take a look. I don't remember what I saw him in, but I saw him in a couple other comedy shows. In any case, he's really just kind of a day player for this. But stops and talks to this guy, and the guy's Indian, and he asks, Peacemaker asks him like, if the coast is clear, and they say, "Oh man, you're that Peacemaker guy," and he's like, "You're the racist super villain or whatever." He's like, "I'm not racist. Like, I'm not." And he's like, "Yeah, well, I just feel like your body count for brown people is a lot worse than it is for white people." And he's like, "Well, I can't help, who's doing the crimes where I'm at. I'm just whatever." And then he goes, "I don't know, man. Like, it just seems like it's really disproportionate." And Peacemaker's answer is like, "Well, fine. I'll kill more white people in the future," And it's like that kind of tone for me kind of works, because you are kind of doing comedy around the kind of the woke territory. You're kind of introducing that subject matter a little bit, but at the same time, you're also kind of making fun of it, and you're kind of going like, well, all right. Well, so the answer to this is like, okay, we'll just kill more of the other race if we're going to be getting into these sorts of...
I mean, obviously, what else are you going to do? Stop killing people? Don't be ridiculous.
Yeah, no, of course not. You're going to have to continue doing that. So you couldn't do anything else. So I don't know. I find stuff like that to be pretty interesting. But Paul, I think you've nailed it though, because like it really does feel like a workplace comedy, and a lot of it's not really social commentary, but a lot of the stuff that sort of falls on that line of sort of, 2021, 2022 kind of politics or whatever, kind of ends up being organic. It's like, this is just what people would be talking about today because that's what's going on or whatever. Like they're just talking about it, So I do kind of appreciate that. It sort of avoids that trap a little bit for me. And that I'm sure like a lot of people are going to be upset because, what we were talking about with Cena and stuff like that before. But that's not really, I don't really have a problem with it. I don't know. Let's talk about this deep state thing for a second, though, because that actually is kind of funny. Cena's dad, Peacemaker's father, a guy named Augie Smith, whose whole deal, apart from being a white supremacist, is, he wants to dismantle the deep state. And we're supposed to think of that, we're supposed to think of that as like this insane supervillain thing, except for I'm so glad that they did actually acknowledge this, because the whole show is about a black ops team that is literally an agent of the deep state. Like there's nothing else to say about it other than the fact that like they are the deepest of deep state. They are an off the books black ops group that assassinates people on behalf of an agent of the government. Like that's what they do. So to try to pretend that kind of thing doesn't exist in this universe would be pretty insane. But also it's funny because they also try to rationalize it the entire time, which is great.
Yeah, it just this popped up with our Spider-Man stuff too. It's like they're trying to make fun of Alex Jones. I mean, Alex Jones is an absolute buffoon, but like they try to make fun of him because he's on the TV of his dad when he walks into the house. This portrayal of it. But then throughout the movie, these people are being proven correct, that there are all these conspiracy theories around every corner and that they're true. And I just don't like. Yeah. I don't think that's obviously not the intention of the writers. It's just to make a joke that these people are watching crazy things, but then the crazy people are right about what is going on. I don't know.